Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Savannah J. Goins, author of The Wythenian, and today I'm going to talk about how to be a successful author. And today I'm not talking about the step-by-step formula of exactly what you need to do or the education you need or anything like that. As evidenced by my sweatshirt, I'm talking about everything that happens behind. I'm talking about the mentality that you have to have, and this goes along with everything that happens behind the scenes. So I'm not dressed up today because a lot of times the hardest part of being an author is when you're behind the scenes and you're in your sweats or your pajamas and you're just chugging along feeling like you never get anything done, and how are you ever going to be successful? So I I'm in the slumps right now on a writing project. And I know it happens to all of us. If you're in the slumps too, I hope this will encourage you a lot. What I do sometimes when I'm in the writing slumps and I'm putting off working because I feel like I just can't do it, I look on YouTube for some encouraging videos, like encouragement for writers or things like that. And I found this really great speech, this commencement speech by Neil Gaiman in 2012 that I'll link below. And he just says so many encouraging things in that and makes so many good points. I just wanted to share some of those with you, and it's also linked down below if you want to check out the whole thing. But the first thing I want to talk about is failure. So failure is going to happen. It just is. And it's the reason that we feel like we can't write and we put it off to the last minute is because we're afraid we're going to fail at it. So why try if it's not going to work? But I want to share this quote with you. And I can't remember who said it. Thomas somebody, he said, or somebody asked him how to be more successful. And he said, you need to double your rate of failure. So if you think about that for a second, it sounds goofy, but it makes total sense. You become successful by doing things, and when you do them wrong, you learn from them, and then you do them again better, and then you keep learning from them. Failure and mistakes are an essential part of learning and success. So being afraid of them is the wrong mentality. Like it's understandable. You don't want to fail, but if you remember that you have to fail in order to succeed, and this isn't permission to be lazy. This is not something where you should, not try your absolute hardest because you're going to fail anyway. Don't be like that, because you're not going to learn. You're not going to learn from that, and your work will show that you weren't trying. If you try the very hardest that you can and do your very best, even when it's not perfect, people can see that there's effort there, and that's really important. But when you do your very best and things still go wrong, it's okay because you're learning. And as long as you can see what went wrong and do it better next time, then that failure is really a success. And that's something that I forget all the time, but it's something that's really important to remember. And in reading a lot of Robert Kiyosaki's books recently on business, the first business that he built, it became $1 million business really quickly, and then because of some mistakes he made, some advice he didn't take, it all crumbled, and he lost like $1 million or something, and he was hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and it was a huge mess for him to get out of. It took years to get out of that, but he's now one of the most successful businessmen in the world. And if he would have given up at that one failure, that's the difference between the people who are successful and people who aren't. The people who are successful kept going after all the failures. They learned from them and built on them and moved on and kept doing things and didn't just give up. Maybe they had moments where they gave up. I've certainly had moments where I've just practically given up, at least for the time, because I just can't do it, and I'm crippled by like the fear of failure and of embarrassing myself and stuff like that. But because I've come past those things, like it feels like I'm never getting anything done, but if I look back, I can see like I have done a few things, and I know that I'll do more things if I just keep trying, even though they're not going to be perfect. So one of the other things that Neil said is when you start out, because he was giving this speech to college students from an art school, he said, when you start out, you don't know the rules. And he said, this is a good thing, because that means you don't know what's possible and what's impossible. And people who know what's possible and what's impossible don't try to do impossible things because they already know they can't be done. But if you are like still new and fresh and you don't realize what things are impossible, you might try to do them anyway and you might succeed because you tried. And I just that's such a great way to look at it. Like I have things that I want to do that feel kind of impossible, but I don't know that they're impossible and I should just do them. Something else that Neil Gaiman said in that speech was, if you don't know how to do something, pretend that you're a person who does know how to do it and do what they would do. Which also sounds silly, but also makes sense. You know, maybe you don't know how to be a good author, but if you can, just say, I'm going to pretend that I know what I'm doing, and you figure out what people, the way that you can pretend to know what you're doing is to see what other people are doing and do that. Even if you don't know what you're doing, you're trying to do what they're doing. That's kind of what you have to do if you're going to do something you haven't done before. You just kind of do have to pretend like you know what you're doing, and you have an idea because you've done some research, or maybe you've tried before and failed and know better what you're doing this time, but you don't just magically become an author. You have to act like an author for a while, and then eventually you are, basically. You have to write, even if you don't feel like you can own the word writer or author yet. You do what writers do until you are a writer, which you are if you're writing. And, you do what authors do until you are an author. And I just love the way of looking at it like that, So even though you might not feel successful, look at what successful people do, by how you define success, and pretend that you are one of them and do what they do. And as you do what they do, you'll start to get to where they've gotten, basically. And the other thing I wanted to share from Neil Gaiman's speech was what he called the best piece of advice that he ever got that he didn't follow. And it was actually from Stephen King, who met him at an event where he was really successful with one of his published works. And Stephen King said, "This is really great. You should enjoy it." And Neil realized that he wasn't enjoying it because he was working so hard and trying so hard not to fail, and just focusing on the next thing and what he needed to get done, and he wasn't enjoying it. And that's what I've been doing lately. I realized, like, I've made big goals for cool things I want to do, and I really want to do them, and I really hate changing my goals to accommodate my inability to reach them. But you really need to enjoy the ride. What is the point of working hard? What's the point of being a creative if you work all day at your day job, you come home, you're exhausted, and you plod through your creative stuff that you don't even enjoy? What for? Why would you do that? That's what I've been doing recently, and I'm gonna figure out a way to not do that anymore. And something else too is sleep. If you have been following me for a while, you know that I don't sleep very much. And from the Beating Writer's Butt Challenge that I did on Instagram with Holly Davis and Heather Venkat, in researching to talk about sleep, I realized how unhealthy the amount of sleep that I get is. And I've noticed that I feel awful a lot of times, and it's because I haven't slept enough, and I fall asleep in inappropriate situations, and that's just not healthy. And I think that one way that I can really improve my creative game, or whatever, my ability to do my creative things and enjoy them, would be to sleep enough. And I'm going to lose time to do creative things that way, but I think the time that I have will be more valuable because I'll be awake and not wishing that I was taking a nap. So that's something that I'm going to do. I encourage you guys to just definitely reach your goals, and don't let yourself off the hook when you need to push yourself more. But only you can tell if sometimes you do need to give yourself a break and reevaluate things, because when you set a goal 6 months ago, you didn't know where you were going to be in 6 months, or in 2 months. And goals that I set in January, I did really good following them for a bit, and I haven't stopped trying to follow them. But the fact is, I don't want to say you can only do so much, but in order to do a thing well, sometimes it takes more time than you had originally expected. And in my case, I would rather do all of the things I want to do well, even if it takes a little longer, than to try to force them all to happen when I want them to and put out less good than what I can do of work, if that makes sense. Not that you should, mosey around with something and never get it out there because it's just not perfect enough. But I mean, if you know that there's something that you can do a lot better, for me, I would rather hold on to it a little bit longer until I can invest in it what I need to invest in it before I throw it out there. Because I also like, if you're if you're creating things for people, they need to be able to enjoy them. And some of the things I've been working on, if I were to just throw them out right now, people wouldn't be able to enjoy them because they need to be a lot better. And I know it's not that I'm at a, like for one of my projects, it's not that I'm at a stage where I've done everything I can. I need somebody else to tell me what else to do. I'm not at that stage yet. I know things that I need to fix, and I need to finish fixing them before I send them off for other people to tell me what things that, I need to get all those things cleared out of the way so people can then tell me what things I am missing. So, so I hope that's not all just a monologue about me. I hope that this is going to be useful for you and help you to just realize how important it is to stick to your goals, but also that it's okay to reevaluate them in order to do a good job and to not be miserable while you're doing it. Because like I want to be full-time, creative entrepreneur or authorpreneur or whatever. I really am going for that, and I expect to get there within a few years, but I don't want to hate my time until then because I'm so exhausted that I just can't enjoy all the things I'm doing. Like, I'm doing this to enjoy it. And, it's kind of the dream to be able to work from home in my awesome office that I love, doing creative things to make a living. Like that would be so cool. And while I'm doing bits of that until I can do that all the time, I want to be able to enjoy those things. I know you guys do too. Whether you're trying to move into that full time or not, if this is what you're spending your free time on, you should enjoy it. Like, even if you're not enjoying it, why do it? And I mean, if you're already working full time to make money to survive, then your creative pursuits should be enjoyable. So I'm just going to end with Neil Gaiman's famous quote from this commencement speech, which is, "Make good art." I'm actually going to paint that on my wall somewhere in my office, because that quote is so meaningful to me, and I hope you'll watch his commencement speech down below as well, because it's awesome. It's very inspirational, and if you're just in the dumps, it might help a little bit. And I hope that this video has helped too. Just remember that failure is not the enemy. Do the best you can, and in the areas that you fail, learn. And then it's not really a failure the way that the world defines a failure. Try to do really big things. Like, the bigger things you do, the bigger you're going to fail, but the more you're going to learn. And that's awesome. So do that and make good art. So I hope that you found this video encouraging, and please give it a like if you did. I have a couple other just encouragement for writers videos that I'll link down below. And let me know in the comments if you're in the slumps right now, and maybe we can encourage each other a little bit, because it's no fun to be in the slumps with, creative stuff. It's no fun. And but it happens, and if we can kind of pull each other out, that's a great thing for fellow creatives to do, to help each other get out of the slumps and get back into the creative zone. So please comment below and let me know. Tell me whatever you want to about what you're going through, and maybe if this has given you an idea for how you can start to get out of that, that'd be awesome. And I hope that this has been helpful, and for more writing encouragement videos and writer life videos, please subscribe. And until next time, have fun making words happen and make good art. Bye.